everyone. I was very punctual today. I wasn't running around right before this started. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for submitting all of your things. I think there's obviously a theme going on every week. And people pleasing, I thought would be a good one to add into the mix. Thank you guys for submitting all of your scenarios and also situations and solutions. It's also given me some perspective. I also had some takes on some people said things that were people pleasing that I'm not sure if I agree they're people pleasing. So I had some things that maybe I wanted to just instill as well. I have a friend. I've been helping her move, and she actually was like, "You can talk about this in your WeChat about people pleasing," and I'm like, I don't really consider this people pleasing. So it's interesting, like what is and isn't considered people pleasing, because for me, I didn't consider me helping her move and dismantling a treadmill and things like that people pleasing. I was really happy to do it. I think that was just being a friend. It definitely made me crunch for time in this sense, but I was able to know that okay, I can do this and still do that. So there's certain things I feel like, and maybe I'm just, because I'm not an expert on any of this. I am just a people pleaser myself. So I guess don't necessarily know sometimes what is and isn't people pleasing. And I will say this about people pleasers, and for every other people pleaser out there, is it's hard sometimes to differentiate for me, because I get joy out of people pleasing for the most part. So I think people pleasing can be dangerous when you're sacrificing something, or when it's at a risk of really, really leading to the things we've talked about, like the burnout and things like that. So it's interesting. It's kind of interesting to know what is people pleasing and what isn't, because sometimes the people pleasing gives me joy. But here we go. Let me take it back. We'll start with the definition of people pleasing, because even I was like, as you can tell, what really defines it? A people pleaser is generally defined as a person who consistently strives to please others, often sacrificing their own wants, needs, or well-being in the process. So I guess people pleasing has to be defined by when you are sacrificing your own wants, needs, or well-being. And I feel like a lot of times I struggle, because I feel like I'm somehow able to balance it out. It's when I don't balance it out well, when I think I'm super woman and I have to remind myself no. I actually can't be two places at once. So I wanted to list some scenarios. I have been in a moving process. This is the attire and the look, because I've been, all my grungy clothes, moving very heavy things and getting sweaty. Even though I'm very upset that I didn't log more steps on my Apple Watch. I was like, that I feel like was more steps than it said. Anyway, scenarios. Someone said going out with a coworker after work, even though I just wanted to go home. I get that. That's also self-care to some extent. Sometimes it's fun to go out after work with a coworker, but at what expense? And I feel like sometimes that falls into FOMO. Sometimes I want to go out because I know it's going to be a fun time, but I also know I need to go home and sleep. And if I don't go home and sleep and I do go out, then the next day is going to be tougher. So I think it's one of those things that, is that people pleasing or is that FOMO? What is convincing you to go out after work? Are you feeling pressure from your coworker? Or are you really just wanting to go because it'll be fun? I'm very intrigued to kind of know more about that. I think I struggle with more the FOMO when it comes to those type of things. Although sometimes there's the pressure to people please. Every time someone asks me something, I do it despite having no time or struggling myself. That is a big one. Yeah, listen, we're all work in progress, right? And learning to say no, or learning to say no in a way that feels comfortable for us. Someone said to me that no is a complete sentence. That's something that's good to remember. No is a complete sentence. Or just, I can't. I'm so sorry, I can't. Are really important. I tend to try to overcompensate and go, I'm so sorry I can't, but when can I help you in another day? And I'm looking at my schedule going wait, I can't. There's no time. So I get that. But try to start practicing no, or I can't. I'm sorry I can't. So Where was I? I'm trying to read and I lost my place. I change my plans in the day to fit someone else's schedule. Your schedule is important too, as are you. Again, I haven't perfected this people-pleasing thing myself. I will still bend my schedule, but I've learned, can they bend theirs a little too? It's like, okay, if we really want to do this thing, or if you really need to do this thing, can you meet me in the middle? So yeah. I don't like fighting with friends, so it's easier to just say yes. That's a tough one. I mean, to me, friends should be okay with you saying no. More than anything, they're your friends. I find it almost harder with work colleagues, but with friends, they should be considerate and understanding that if you're saying no, especially a people pleaser, like people know if I say no, they're like, oh no, Danielle really can't do it. And I think that's something that is really important because, you know, you are someone who's a people pleaser. So when you say no, your friend should respect that and go, oh, that person really can't do it. So it should not lead to a fight. And if it does, that again goes back to setting clear boundaries, which makes me go like, if your friends can't respect your boundaries, maybe there needs to be a real friend conversation that's had. It doesn't need to be serious. Things can be said in ways that don't blow up into drama, but a conversation around like, hey, for my well-being, my health, my mental health, I really need to be able to set these boundaries. I need you to be okay with me saying no. And when I say no, it's because I really mean it. So I think that's an important conversation, especially with friends. Just apologizing even when I didn't do anything wrong. That's a big one. Let's see, does it fall under people pleasing? Just apologizing even if I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think women do it naturally. Historically, we apologize all the time. There's something I discovered recently, which someone told me, and I wish I could remember who said it. In emails, I'll do that because I just can't keep up with emails. And I always start an email saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for the delay. I'm so sorry. And someone said, start it by saying, thank you so much for your patience. And that like was a game changer because sorry feels like I'm taking all of this, like I messed up. I have to apologize because I did something wrong. And leading an email with thank you for your patience changed everything because I'm not sorry. I really am not. I'm busy. I'm trying to get around to these things, but I can't. And so I'm sorry, but I'm also more thankful for your patience. So anyway, it might be a little, it was interesting. Next time, if you're somebody who starts a lot of emails with I'm sorry or is always apologizing, you know, oh yeah, someone just said, turn a sorry into a thank you. And that is a beautiful way to say, instead of I'm sorry, say thank you for your patience. Why I am not hungry. I think I must have a nervous growling stomach because my stomach is growling again during the lives. I don't know why this always happens. I'm getting the complex. Where was I? Even when I feel like I'm either exhausted or on the brink of a bad mental health day, I still put others first. That's you've gotta put yourself first. I've always loved the analogy, and I say it a lot, is when you're on a plane and they give the safety presentation and they say you must apply your oxygen mask before anyone else's. I try to always remember that visual. Like I cannot show up as my best self if I do not take care of myself. I try. I still to this day will push myself and do things, but I try. I'm getting better at it. And there's a lot of occasions now where I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I got to take this day. I got to do this thing. I got to do a self-care thing. I've got to, whatever I need to kind of reset. And then I'll show up for you on the day that, on another day. But I try to use that analogy as a visual because it's so true, even when they're giving a presentation on a plane for like worst case scenarios. So I just think it's something really to live by. I want people to like me and be happy, so I often tend to try to please everyone. That is very much people pleasing. Does that people pleasing stem from a place of, I want people to like me? I think that's where mine comes from. I want people to like me, so I want to go above and beyond. But the truth is, people are going to like you for you, not because of what you can do for them. And if they like you for what you can do for them, that's really not a friendship or a relationship based in a strong foundation because it's not sustainable. So something to take a look at. I had to, for sure. I hope people like me regardless of what I can do for them is the way I kind of look at it. And try and practice that and try to really, I think people pleasing in general, it's important to know what it's coming from. It's like I said earlier with the FOMO thing. Are you people pleasing your coworker who wants you to go out after work, or do you just have FOMO? Where is it all coming from? Where is this guilt or, desire to want to do something that doesn't feel 100% authentic to you in the moment? What does it really stem from? And I think being curious about that and trying to kind of figure out the root of that will help you also kind of fix that, whether it's people pleasing or FOMO or whatnot. Because FOMO will always exist. I mean, everyone knows. My best friend Macy I love her life. She is doing stuff constantly, traveling everywhere. And of course, I get asked to go on every single excursion. And I have FOMO and I want to go on every single thing. I just can't. So it's just a question. Is it FOMO? Is it people pleasing? What else could it be? Let's see. Also, too, adding to that, to please everyone and to keep the peace. I mean, people pleasing shouldn't be something that keeps the peace at the sake of your own mental health. Like, really think about that. Like, everyone deserves the right to have peace in their life. It's not sometimes an easy thing to achieve because life is life. It is really hard most of the time. But I think, everyone deserves to have peace in their life. It shouldn't just be about walking around life making sure everyone else has peace in their life. What about your peace? Try to make your peace a priority. I think that's something to really strive for. Every day a friend, I just copy and pasted. There's a word missing here. Every day a friend wants to FaceTime, and despite being tired, I still answer. Here's my goal for that, because I do feel bad if I don't pick up a phone, and I tend to do this thing where if I miss a phone call, or if I'm busy and just can't pick it up right at that moment, I tend to take longer than I should to call that person back, like days. And people can get upset by that. They're like, oh, okay. Like, I had this thing to tell you and you just, whatever. I also try to tell my friends, if it's important, let me know. But if you have this, like, consistent or, thing, this habit that you guys have built up where you're always doing this FaceTime, maybe just shorten it at first. Sometimes what's depleting is I know certain friends will want to stop talk on the phone for a long time. And I just sometimes will not pick up that phone call because I'm like, I don't have the time right now to talk. I used to do that, I should say. But now I've realized I pick up the phone, they just want to hear your voice. And sometimes I just, pick up the phone going, I only have 5 minutes. And I just say, hey, I love you, but I gotta go. Let's pick this up another day. Because I think that can be an important thing, just to connect with that friend who obviously needs you and loves you and cherishes the conversations you guys have, but they're burning you out. So I think maybe try that. Because it's going to be almost impossible to stop that FaceTime call that you're doing with your friend every day. But try to minimize the time you're on it. Try to just go, hey, I can't right now. Or, hey, hi, sorry, I can't talk right now. Can I call you back, tomorrow? Try that as a test. Like baby steps, right? Nothing can be like, because cutting off that communication completely is going to make that friend confused and going to make you feel guilty and bad. So take baby steps towards maybe just minimizing the calls, having eventually the call be every other day. And usually these things, once you start kind of minimizing things or changing things, they happen quicker than, I say baby steps, but usually something like that would resolve itself pretty quickly. My boss would often make me believe I wasn't good enough for not being available 24/7. That is not okay. I've done this thing because obviously if you're someone who's an assistant, if you're someone who, just feels like your job can literally you can be on call at all times. And I get some jobs, I guess, if you're an on-call nurse. I'm trying to think of jobs that like you are technically on call, but you're only on call for certain days. So even that, it kind of debunks it. But I've even said to myself, I'm like, no emails, no phone calls, none of that stuff after a certain time of day. Obviously family is another thing, but you can also set it for family. But with work, I really try to say between this hour and this hour is work. Between 9 and 7. Even that's really long, but I'll do work stuff between then. And after that, I'm not available. And try to be clear about your boss. Be like, I'm sorry, after this time, I'm not available. And chances are your boss will actually work within that time frame because that's reasonable. I know assistants tend to feel that they're constantly, needed and asked for. I try to tell anyone who's ever worked for me, like on the weekends or whatever, I'm like, take the time, go sleep. Like sometimes they'll be texting me to be like, can you do, what about this? I didn't get a response on that. I'm like, stop. Nothing is that important. Go get some sleep, rest. I know how it's important. So hopefully your boss, this person that sent this, is able to understand that you have a time frame and just asking for that. Say, hey, listen, can we just keep all phone calls, text messages, emails that are work-based? I will only be available between 9 and 7, whatever hours you want to set. But try to set something realistic and see how that goes. If they say absolutely not, I need you on call at all times, I mean, that needs to be a real conversation with yourself about, is this job worth it? And am I making enough money to be at someone's beck and call 24/7? That's a lot to ask of a person. It's not right. So yeah, I hope you find a balance with that. I'm sorry that your boss is constantly nagging you. It's hard to not be a people pleaser when it comes to family and social situations. It is harder. Again, I go back to, is this FOMO? Is this people pleasing? It's hard to say no to the people we love the most. It's hard to say no to that fun get together with the girlfriends, with the friends. It's hard to say no to going to weddings, baby showers, things like that. I also try to pick and choose. I go, how important is this to that person? Tonight I'm going to a charity event and I'm tired and I would love to take the night off, but I know how important it is to that person. But I've also set a goal for myself. I'm going to go. I'm not going to do anything after. I'm going to go home. I'll go to bed, get a good night's sleep. So it starts early. Hopefully it'll end at a reasonable time and I will go home and get some sleep. So, there's some things we do because we love a person and we want to show up for them, but it's also balancing it out. If I was completely burnt out right now, I would have to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it. But I feel like I have just enough in me to go, okay, I can show up, get to hug that person, see them, I haven't seen them in a while, and celebrate them because they're getting an award. And then after head home and support an important cause. So, I get it. Family and social situations are hard. Family and friends should always understand. And if they don't, sometimes you have to go, that's on them. You can explain yourself, you can talk to them, but if they get upset because you're setting boundaries that are directly related to your health and your well-being, it becomes a them problem at some point. Because obviously, I will have to say, a lot of times I say this with people pleasers, is we're people pleasers over all the way, I can't do arms, or all the way over here, right? And then we are afraid that if we stop people pleasing, we'll just be the person that doesn't do anything ever. People pleasers are never going to not do anything. People pleasers are always going to show up in the ways that people love that they show up. It's just minimizing that so you're not sacrificing your own well-being. Finding that balance. Always seeking other people's approval. That's a big one with people pleasing. It's the approval. It's the wanting people to like you. Those are things that I go back to going back in the day of you're not everyone's cup of tea. You shouldn't have to go above and beyond for people to like you and to seek their approval. You should be able to show up in the ways that are healthy and reasonable and make sense, and people should be respectful of that. It takes time. These are all scenarios. I don't necessarily have all the solutions, but I hope some of this is resonating with people. Agreeing with things I don't want to do. That's a big one. And I think it's interesting too, because I also know with mental health, sometimes we say we don't want to do something and we don't want to do something because we're maybe in a depressed state and we're spiraling and that friend is trying to get us out of it. I always, again, staying curious about things and kind of going, what is it right now that's making me not want to do this? Do I not want to hang out with those friends? Do those friends tend to drink a lot and they pressure me and I just don't want to do it? I just really don't want to go? If you don't want to do something, don't do it. I give you permission. So that is something that I hope that you hear me when I say it. It's hard for me too, but I do try to go, do I want to do this thing? It's hard too when it comes to certain situations like family, going back to that, it's are you going to disappoint your mom or your dad? Are they going to give you a guilt trip? That's not fair, parents. Guilt trips are not fair to give to kids. But, is that the reason why you feel like you have to do it? Is it, if it's a work thing, are you like, I have to go because I have to show up and put on a good face and like network for work? Like going from a place of curiosity and going, why do I feel I need to go to this thing? And why don't I want to go to this thing is really important. So take an inventory of where that's all coming from would be my advice on that. And sometimes I've gotten really good at it. I'm like, I don't want to go. That doesn't sound like a fun night to me. Or, I've done that a bunch and I know what it's going to be like. I know that setting, doing that thing with that person, I've done it and I love it. I have a good time, but I don't need to do it right now, I guess. So yeah, take that inventory, and some of it's just, knowing if you have the mental capacity at the time. And also say, if I wasn't doing that, what would I want to do? What would I rather do? I think that's also sometimes things that come to mind. It's like, okay, well, if I'm not doing that, what do I want to do? And it's okay. Sometimes your answer can be, I'd rather just sit on the couch and watch a TV show for the night and not feel guilty about it. So work on that. I'm working on it. I'm not good at it. I'm sitting here not saying that I'm good at any of this. It is a constant work in progress. But I would say that practice doesn't make perfect really, but practice makes, progress. So just keep practicing little by little. Saying yes because I don't want to disappoint. Again, that leads into the people pleasing, the guilt, the FOMO. If your friends and your family love you, they will understand. You need to learn that no is okay. And they need to learn that you saying no is okay. Yep, the feeling, someone said, I'm a people pleaser because I feel the guilt afterwards. That stuff you have to work on. You have to let that guilt go. Guilt about what? Again, staying curious. Why are you guilty? What are you guilty about? I also try to do this thing sometimes where I'm like, maybe people are not going to like this, but like, I'm not that important. Like I sometimes like really humbling myself because sometimes I'm like, oh my God, if I don't go, they're going to be so disappointed and so upset. And I'm like, you're not that important. Maybe they won't be that disappointed or that upset. Like take a little bit off. I sometimes do that too. Sometimes there's that wedding I can't make it to or the baby shower I can't make it to, but I will still, go on the gift registry and buy a gift, send a proper letter or a card in the mail or something. Like sometimes that is enough. People understand that you can't always make it to things. So, and then sometimes I'm like, no, I have to be there. But I would just say that guilt really, again, I guess we're coming from a place of curiosity. Where does it come from? What are you actually guilty about? And can you remove yourself from the situation and say, okay, should I be carrying this guilt? Why do I have this guilt? Will they understand if I can't make it? And if you needed help, write these things down. Sometimes just writing stuff out makes you realize how silly you're being too. I sometimes write stuff out and I'm like, oh my God, now that I see it on pen, like paper, I'm like, oh, that's silly. Saying yes in a relationship so that my partner would like me more. That is like friendship. That is like the same thing. If your partner is not going to like you because you're saying no to things, that is not a strong foundation. You have to be able to say no to things. And I know that's probably, I haven't been at the start of a relationship for a long time, but I feel like if I can put myself back in that place, there's a time early on in a relationship where you feel like if you say no to people early on that, they're going to find someone else. Again, you're building a strong foundation, especially at the beginning of a relationship. And if you can't say no at the beginning of a relationship, as that relationship goes on, you're going to grow resentful. That is one thing that people pleasers it tends to happen to us. We people please, and we burn out, and we sacrifice our mental health and our well-being and all of those things. And then we get resentful. And then all we're doing is causing the damage that we were trying to avoid in the first place. Try to think of the long game. In a relationship especially, if you are people pleasing to the point that you're sacrificing your own well-being, you are eventually going to be resentful of that person. And that is not healthy for a relationship. Learn healthy boundaries, and that person should also learn healthy boundaries. It goes both ways. We all have to learn how to say no and how to receive no. It's sometimes hard both ways. not speaking up when someone has made me feel uncomfortable. That's really about self-care and self-worth and defending yourself, I would say, more than anything. Less about people pleasing. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable, you should never be put in that position. You should say it. And there's ways you can say it. Practice. I know that sounds weird. Actors, we walk around talking to ourselves all the time, but I know for other people that's probably really overwhelming. Practice it. Be like, next time they say it, I'm going to say, hey, listen, I really don't feel comfortable with you saying that. Would you mind not doing it this way? That makes me feel uncomfortable. Can you please not do that? That makes me feel uncomfortable. And usually people tend to get a little defensive. They tend to be like, oh, okay. Or, they get a little, but you're able to say it and putting it out there in a way that feels right for you and isn't, you're not being mean to them. You're saying it in it's about you. That makes me feel. That's always a good way to put it. Not you make me feel, or you do this or you that. That makes me feel. Is really important way to frame that. And just say, I'd really appreciate it. Could you not that? That makes me feel a certain way. Would you please not do that? Something like that is a way to practice it. Walk around practicing it. Talk to yourself. Be an actor. Bending over backwards for people who wouldn't do the same for me. That is not, again, a solid foundation for a friendship or a relationship. There needs to be a give and take. I want to believe, okay, there's a big thing in LA, like driving friends to LAX. And some friends will never do it. And you know that. And I am probably someone that'll drive anyone to LAX. But most of the time, what ends up happening is any of my friends that I drive to LAX will drive me to LAX. Now, I don't know why I'm using this as an example, but if you live in LA, everyone knows this. This whole driving to LAX is a thing. And there are people that absolutely will say, I am never driving anyone to LAX, and understandably. But I'm someone who does it, and I have friends that do it in return. Relationships, friendships should be reciprocal. There should be equality, reciprocal equality. Don't even know if that's a saying or a thing. It should exist in every relationship, or there will eventually, it'll breed resentment because you are pulling more of the weight than the other person. Sometimes people can't do the things that you need, but today I'm helping a friend move out. I've been, I'm helping another friend that was moving a bunch of stuff from one place to the other. And I know that those friends are friends that if I asked them and they were available and could, they would do it. That's what you want to surround yourself with. You want to surround yourself with people that respect you enough to know I'm going to treat this person with the same respect they give me, and have enough self-worth to go, I'm willing to be able to do this. I'm happy to do this. And this person, I'm friends with this person because they hold me and I have enough self-worth and they have enough respect for me to be able to do these things in return. So if that makes sense, I feel like I went on a tangent and I'm not sure if it did, but I hope it did. But I am at a place now in my life where I did have friends back in the day where things, and sometimes you don't know in the moment. Sometimes you start friendships. I'll speak on friendships, and you give and you give and you give, and you realize, oh, the friendship's not really reciprocal. And when you start setting boundaries, I will say some friendships die off. Some friendships, there's no bad blood. I'll say this. The friendships that die off because you stop people pleasing, I haven't had this experience where you hate each other. You just don't see each other as much because you're I realized that that relationship was not reciprocal. When I needed you, you weren't there for me, but I was there for you every time you needed me. And that's not fair. And it's sad. I've definitely lost some friendships that make me sad because I had to set those healthy boundaries, and I don't see those people as much. It's kind of also that saying a phone works both ways. It can't be one friend always reaching out and trying to be there and show support for the other friend. The other person has to reach out as well. A phone works both ways. My stomach's going to growl again. At work, doing tasks for others so I can make sure they're done properly. This one was interesting to me. I personally do not consider this people pleasing. I consider this to be not fair to your coworker, honestly. I don't want to say it's selfish by any means. It's not that extreme, but I don't know. My vocabulary is not as, elaborate as I want it to be. But I would say if you're going out of your way to have a coworker's work or tasks be done perfectly, and you're doing it for them so they do it perfectly, as much as it's frustrating that they'll do something and it won't be done right, they have to learn. you're actually holding them back from learning. Whether or not they do something and you are the boss that has to correct them and say, hey, listen, I really need you to do it this way. Or they will learn over time that what they're doing is wrong because someone, their boss or someone will be like, hey, I need you to do it this way. You're not letting them fail by any means. You're letting them grow. And people, it's like parenting, right? You know, I'm not an expert on that either, but kids have to learn how to do things. If you do everything for them, they'll never learn. So when it comes to your coworker and doing tasks for them so they're done properly, it's a little bit of a control thing and a little bit of let them do it. And if they mess up, let them learn. And yeah, you might not like how it's done that one time. It might frustrate you, but try and work on that yourself, I would say. Because I did this a lot. I also was someone who, because acting in the entertainment industry is so volatile and unpredictable and unstable, I would tend to try to control everything else in my life. And that's just not possible. It's laughable to try to control anything. But if you're someone who's like, I'm going to control this so that it's done the way I want to, or if you start getting into that habit, you're like, no one can do it the way I would do it, and the way I do it is perfect. Like, you've got to change that mindset. And there was a saying, and I'm not going to remember, but something about like, the most successful people are smart enough to know that I'm going to delegate these things to people and let them do them. Because the truth is you can't do everything. You're going to burn yourself out doing that. You're going to burn yourself out doing every task for every other person because you're like, they need to do it the right way and I know the right way and they don't. Let them learn what the right way is. So that's that one. Okay, those were all the ones you guys gave as scenarios. I always want to do only 30 minutes and I always go over. Okay. I wanted to skim through and see if there was any other scenarios because I know you guys have been writing a lot of comments. That's a good one. I will take that to heart. I'll say it in a second. I just want to see real quick. I'm happy to hear that people have said, yeah, they've set boundaries with friends and it didn't. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, okay, sorry, I'm getting all over the place. Let me read a couple of these and remember. It's a great way to put it too. You know, some people talked about losing some friendships because they set those boundaries, but they're sad and they mourned that, but it was necessary. And it really is. It gives your life more peace, going back to that. Like we all deserve to have peace in our life. And if people in our lives are asking too much of us, sometimes they're going to go in waves and friends are going to need us more than we can give at times. And we can say, listen, I can only show up so much for you right now. Is there anyone else you can rely on right now as well? Because I can't be everything to you right now. But I'm talking long term. If you realize over a long period of time of a friendship that you're just constantly giving and giving and giving and giving and not getting any sort of support in return, take a look at that. There was something someone said that was so good and I forgot. Oh, someone said, your relationships, your circle as you get older gets smaller but stronger. And I think that is so true. You know, people always say like, oh, I have so many friends as we get older. Because when you're younger, you have like all these friends, it feels like. Or like, you know, a lot of people. And, you know, it feels like we have more time when we're younger, which I didn't think was going to happen. But when you get older, that group does become smaller, but it really becomes stronger. And that's what's so great is then those friends you have, that core group of friends, are ones that you know you can always rely on when you need them. And let's be honest, people pleasers are not people that usually reach out to people to ask for help to begin with. But if you have a core group of friends that is going to be there when you do reach out, that's golden. So, let's see. I will right now. My apologies. The perfectionist on here. Someone said to do this picture is torturing people because it's crooked. I'm so sorry. I'm sure people have had to look at that the whole time. That should be straight now. Okay. My apologies. I didn't. No. I mean, how do I put? Sorry if I've tortured everyone because the picture was crooked. But someone did bring up also doing a live about perfectionism or being a perfectionist. And all these kind of things are really intertwined, but I think that that's a really good one to do. And I had someone reach out about asking if I could do one on having OCD. And I think that's a really important one, and they wanted to come on and talk about it. So I think these are all going to be future ones as well. Okay, I'm going to go into some solutions. Kind of skimmed through those. Thanks for some of the stuff you guys added. Here's a little saying: you're not required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. It's very true. And again, I will go back to usually over time, even if you think you're like, I won't grow resentful. I won't grow resentful. I won't. I'm happy to do this. I'm so happy to do this. They need me. I want to show up for them. This brings me joy. And then you realize you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And you're getting nothing in return, and you grow resentful. Hopefully we all get to the point where we clock that before we grow resentful, because that resentment can cause the most damage. And we have to take responsibility for the fact that we did push ourselves too far. That's a little bit of both. They asked too much, but we also kept saying yes. They can't read our minds. We have to set clear boundaries. People pleasers have to learn how to say no. So, advice. Practice saying no, even to small things, without feeling guilty. We've got to think of ourselves too. And this is all the stuff, just for everybody clarity, this is all the things I'm reading off are things you guys all submitted. So thank you. This is like a collaboration, a group effort to really combat people pleasing. Practice saying no. Practice. Just practice. Just practice. I have a tendency, I respond right away, and my instinct is to always say yes. So if someone texts me or is talking to me in public, in person, and they're like, hey, I have this thing on Thursday. You want to go? And I'm like, yeah. Just start practicing. If you can't say no, be like, oh yeah, let me take a look and I'll let you know. Or I'll reach out to you later and let you know if I can make it happen. Or whatever version of that you can come up with, try to not say no right away. Or yes, right away. I said that so passionately and I said the wrong thing. Practice not saying yes right away. Practice saying no. Or let me think on that. Let me take a look at my calendar. I'll get back to you later. Reminding myself that putting me first isn't always selfish and that I'm allowed to do that. It is not selfish. It is self-care. I started telling people when I'm not in the right headspace to take on their problems too. And you can do this in a nice way. Listen, I really don't have the mental capacity to be there for you. It's not to take this on, because you don't want it to seem like you're taking on this burden, because then that makes the person feel bad. But it's really like, I'm so sorry. I'm going through my own stuff right now. I can't be there for you in the way you need. Is there anyone else that you can talk to right now about this? Try to find ways to frame that in ways that, and just, that you're being honest. I can't do it right now for myself. I just can't. I'm sorry. And I guess in those ways you can say, I'm sorry. I don't know. I would say I'm sorry, but maybe that's also wrong. Baby steps, baby. Choosing people who value you and see you for who you are. Absolutely. Reciprocal quality in a relationship. Respect. The people you surround yourself with respect you enough and respect your time, and you respect them in their time. It is so important to surround yourself with people like that. But it starts with you having your own respect for yourself and self-worth for yourself, and knowing what self-care looks like. All of these things are intertwined. Choosing, no, I said that already. I had to make the decision to cut people out that didn't serve a mutual purpose in my life. Yes. And hopefully you did it in a way, or you were able to do it in a way where it didn't become this huge dramatic blow up. A lot of those relationships, they just kind of fizzle out over time because you stop showing up in the way that you were. And I will say those are kind of sad, because you kind of go, okay, I'm going to pull back and not do as much. And they kind of disappear. And they find someone else that does do that people-pleasing thing for them and shows up in that one-sided way. And, I luckily had a therapist who was like, but do you have the capacity to do that? Do you want to do that? No. Okay. Then you're doing the right thing for you. And if that person can't show up for you the way you need, but you're showing up for them, that's a problem. So it doesn't say, it's not sad. It's not that it's not sad. Some of these friendships are sad. Some of them you lose and they are sad because they're not mutually respectable. importance of setting boundaries will change your life. Yes, it will, and it has changed mine. It is not easy. It takes time, but setting those boundaries is so important. And some people you'll lose for a little bit and they'll come back into your life too. I set a really clear boundary with someone who's very close to me, and we basically became distant for a year, maybe more. And now that person changed, evolved, I evolved, whatever. And now we're back and we have a relationship that's stronger than ever because I set that boundary. So also know that some of these relationships do come back. So you mourn some of them, and then other ones you mourn, and then you go, okay. And then eventually you're like, oh, wow, wait a second. And when we came back stronger. So that's important to also know. Tolerating the discomfort, although it's hard at first, you have to go through that to push past being a constant pleaser. Yes, it is not going to be easy to set boundaries. It is not going to be easy to say no. It is extremely difficult. I'm shaking my head through all of this because it's also something that I am constantly learning. So it's hard. It's not easy. It is not easy to say no for people that are people pleasers. It's really difficult. But start practicing, start trying. You're not going to get it right every time. Sometimes you'll say no, and then they'll pressure you, and then you'll say yes in the end. But then after it happens, you'll go, why did I do that? And you'll beat yourself up. Don't do that, but definitely go, I didn't want to do that. Why did I do that? And try to really say no the next time. But live in that discomfort. It's important. Build self-worth from within. Always important. Learn your self-worth. Learn to love yourself. Everyone knows that I'm a huge advocate of that. And learn your self-worth. Know what you are bringing to the table. People pleasers, I guess I'm talking about myself, it is a little bit of a superpower, but it's a gift and a curse. It's amazing that we want to make people happy if we're doing it for the right reasons that aren't just about wanting them to like us. And I do get joy. I do know as a people pleaser, I kind of sit there and I go, is this something that's going to bring me joy or make me eventually resentful? And I balance that out. It changes. It alternates. Sometimes I get it wrong, obviously. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this thing is something I really want to do for them, for that person, because it'll bring me joy to make them happy. Not because I want them to like me, but because they are someone who's special to me, and this will make them happy to do this. And I have the capacity to do it right now. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but self-worth is really, really, really important in knowing why it is you're people-pleasing, but also knowing that people-pleasing can be something that's really valuable. But maybe, I guess, when it's healthy, it's not called people-pleasing. It's just called showing up when you can and when your friends need you. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe it transitions from people-pleasing into just being a really good friend that has really good friends around you and family and partners. Does the thing you're saying yes to benefit you or just the people around you? There you go. I just said that. Does it benefit you? Really take the time to think. When you take the time and that person asks you to do that thing and you go, let me think on it. Really think on it. Go, is this something I want to do? Is this something I should do because it'll bring me joy? Or it's the right thing to do as a friend? Really take the time to go, not just does it benefit me, I guess is what I say. Does it benefit you? Yes. Like, will it bring you joy? That's a benefit. Is it something that you as a friend should do to show up for your friend because they would do the same for you in certain situations? Or is it something that's going to deplete you, that's going to make you resentful, that you're going to end up regretting? Really look at that. Going to therapy really helps. Yeah, absolutely. Going to therapy, I believe, always helps. And I understand some people say therapy is expensive, and that's absolutely true. Therapy can be very expensive. And sometimes that's why I also believe in meditating and journaling and really talking to yourself too. But it's nice because at least with therapy, I have this person that can give me advice that's very unbiased and that's sitting there and listening and gets to the root of what's happening versus, I think friends, for the most part, we talk about things that are happening in our lives, and our friends kind of just deal with the superficial top part because that's all we know how to do. We also are coming at it from a biased place. So therapists are great. Therapy is phenomenal. I love it. I'm a big advocate of it. So if you can have means to have a therapist, by all means, yes, it helps. Reminding those around you that no is always an option. Yes, I will say it again. No is a complete sentence, and your friend should respect that. But you can also say the other things. I'm sorry, I can't. That's also no. Reminding those, oh no, I said that. No is a full sentence. Yes. Reflecting on the reasons you feel the need to please everyone. Again, live in a place of curiosity. Why do I want to do this? What is the reason? Constantly being curious. Have curiosity around why you feel you need to do the thing that you're being asked to do. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. Absolutely. You have to learn healthy boundaries. It's not like you should. You have to. In order to live a peaceful life. And again, we all deserve some element of peace. Life is crazy. Adulting is hard. None of this shit is easy. You should all be able to find peace. You deserve it. Everyone deserves that. Setting boundaries helps you achieve that. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love. Listening to and trusting the ones I love to help me make good decisions and break habits. Absolutely. When you surround yourself with people that do respect you and you respect them, and it's this reciprocal relationship, listening to them and trusting them is important too. And if they sometimes have to say, you need a break, those are great friends. When they're just like, stop, I'm telling you no, don't do it, relax, do the whole thing. Before responding right away, I take a pause and say, why am I saying yes? Absolutely. Yes, this is such an important one. Take a pause. Just think for a second. I try to learn that. I move so fast sometimes. I go 100 miles an hour. Anyone that knows me, I go super fast. And then I don't take those moments to pause before I respond to stuff. You can just say no without having to give a full explanation. Absolutely, I'm not good at this. But yes, and thank you for reminding me. I do sometimes feel like I have to say no and this is why. Just saying, no, I can't. That even in itself gives me anxiety. Like, it's so hard to say just, no, I can't, I'm sorry. But I'm getting better at it. Realizing that my opinions matter too. Absolutely, that's part of self-love, self-care. Your opinions absolutely matter. Your voice matters. You matter, especially in your friendships. But in every element of life, your opinion, how you feel is important. It's essential. Never forget that. Stop seeking others' approval and putting yourself first. Absolutely. Stop seeking everyone's approval, especially I think as you get older. Everyone always says this, you turn 30 and all of a sudden you start, people always go, I stopped giving a shit. Like I stopped caring what people thought. And I do think obviously when we were younger, I can't go back to my younger version and try to figure out how to tell my younger self, stop seeking everyone's approval, stop trying to get everyone to like you. But when you get older, I do notice that it just naturally starts to happen. So I do wish that people that are younger start to realize it more and more, to just stop trying to seek approval from others. Stop trying to people please. And your self-worth is not wrapped up in having to people please others and needing people's approval. Your self-worth is wrapped up in how you view yourself and how you love yourself and how you see yourself as someone who is a good person, who contributes great things to life, whether it's through friendship, you're a great friend, a great partner, a great person, have integrity, like all those things that you can find about yourself. You've got your humor, you're funny, you're smart, you're whatever that thing is that you really are like, whatever that thing is. It's so important. So I hope for people that are still struggling with that and trying to constantly seek approval, you start putting yourself first. It's a balancing act. Like I said, people pleasers tend to think, okay, if I put myself first, then I'm selfish. There's going to be a balance, but I promise you, people pleasers, you are never, ever, ever going to probably be selfish. It's just not in you. People pleasers don't have this ability to just be like me. It's just not in people pleasers. It's so asking for what you need is the least you can do for yourself. You are not selfish by doing it. Please know that. Yes. Okay. So that was all the things you guys said. I, of course, went over per usual. I'm really trying to keep it down. I need to go faster. But then this felt like it had flow. But I still, I like to go through. I still feel like I went way over. Just reading some of the comments to see. I'm so happy you guys are enjoying WeChat Wednesdays. Oh, I will say, for those that were going to the London convention, I'm sorry for what happened. My my heart goes out to everyone, all the organizers of the convention, and the health issues and the emergency that they are experiencing. I sadly cannot do next March, which was heartbreaking to have to say, but I unfortunately can't. So, yeah. So I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that this keeps happening last minute. I obviously, some things we can't control, but between the one that happened earlier this year that got canceled and then this one, it's obviously never fun to be excited about something coming up and then very close to the date that it's happening, things change. But I am looking forward to December in Paris and seeing everybody. But those that were going to London, I am sorry. And my well wishes go out to everyone at Fan Fusion and sending them get well soon. That's not right. How would you say that? Sending them well wishes in their recovery process. So let's see. My nose is running. I'm sorry. Let's see. Just see if there's anything else you guys wanted to add into people pleasing. Okay. Good. Someone just said they did lose a friend years ago because they set boundaries. And again, I'm just really hearing that, people that set, what I'm seeing a lot of, which is beautiful, is that a lot of people that set boundaries are realizing that in the end it was for the best. And but also admitting it was not an easy process to set those boundaries and to grieve those friendships. So it's not easy. It is uncomfortable to not be a super people pleaser, but it is important for your own, mental health and self-care and, your own peace. So yeah, this was fun. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. I'm really having a lot of fun. I would love to bring on some people. So I'm trying to think up some things. Maybe I'll do a question box of like, what other ideas are we thinking of? Doing one about being a perfectionist, or perfectionism is great. It kind of ties into possibly, I don't know much about OCD, but someone that wants to come on and talk about OCD. But if there's something you're really passionate about that you yourself want to come on and talk about, please send me a message so I can bring people on, because obviously too, any chance to not just sit here and talk at myself is greatly appreciated. So please, if there's something that you yourself struggle with or want to bring attention to and really want to talk about because you feel like, oh, this isn't talked about enough, please let me know, because I would love to talk about some other things. But being a perfectionist is also a great one. So we'll see what next Wednesday brings. This was great. I'll try to keep it to 30 minutes. Everyone, I hope you have a great day and a great week. And yeah, sending much love. Mwah! Bye, everyone.